Today, I will walk you through the editing process that helps me deliver ready-to-publish drafts. You will learn how to edit your outlines, how to spot high-level inaccuracies and logical flaws in your first draft, how to line edit the copy and ensure it meets your client's unique requirements, and how to proofread for spelling grammar mistakes. I will also show you the AI prompts and share a link to a blog post where you can find them ready to copy and paste. Talking of the prompts, they are work in progress and I constantly tweak them. So what you see here in this video may not necessarily be what you find in the blog post. The blog post is more likely to have the up-to-date ones because written copy is much easier to update. With that out of the way, let's dive right in. My editing process starts with the outline. It's much easier and faster to fix major structure issues at the outline stage than to move polished copy around later when the draft is ready. So if you're working with writers, I would always ask them for a detailed outline before they start writing. And if you're a writer, I would always ask for feedback on your outline before you crack on with the copy. This may seem like an extra round of edits, but it isn't. From my experience, when I take time to refine the outline, I need few edits later, so I save time. So let's have a look at the questions that I ask to stress test an outline before I start writing. So the first question, is the outline messy? Messy is a term I picked up from Ryan Law, and it stands for mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. The idea is simple. No section should overlap with another. That's mutually exclusive. And together, they should cover the topic in full. That's collectively exhaustive. This keeps the article clean, avoids redundancy, while ensuring you cover every major idea that needs to be covered. And here's the prompt that I use to check if the outline is messy. Question number 2, does the outlined article deliver on all promises? If a header, title, intro hints at an idea, the article must deliver it. So if you promise the reader will know how to edit the blog posts after reading the article, you must give them an actionable step-by-step guide how to do it. If you promise AI prompts, you must give them AI prompts. Otherwise, it's misleading, and in the best case scenario, it's distracting. Question number 3, does the outline prioritize the how? I aim for 70 to 80% of the article to be how-to content, with only 20 to 30 left for why and what content. Because most readers don't need an explanation why the problem exists. They want to know how to solve the problem. But that's where a lot of articles fail, because as writers, we don't always have practical experience doing the things that we write about. As a result, we skim over the how-to sections and concentrate on the what and why sections, which are much easier. Question number 4, does the outline bluff? The bluff stands for bottom line up front. The main message or takeaway comes first, and the rationale or the evidence or examples follow. Why it matters? Because readers are busy. If they don't get the answer immediately, they bounce. Also, LLMs are more likely to pull your content into the summaries if you structure your sections like this. Question number 5, are the headers enough to understand what your article is about? So your article should have clear benefit-focused headers that tell the reader exactly what they can find in each section, so that when they look at the table of contents, they can get the main ideas that you're trying to communicate. Most blog readers don't actually read, they skim, and such high-concept headers make the article more skimmable. Question number 6, are the headers grammatically parallel? Parallelism is when headers follow the same grammatical structure. So if one H3 heading starts with a verb, they all should start with the verb. If one is a noun phrase, keep them all as noun phrases. It may seem like a minor tweak, but it reduces the mental effort needed to process information and makes the article easier to digest. The high-level edit is about making sure that the big picture holds. that the arguments are sound, the facts are accurate, and the ideas flow. If I start editing with the draft, not the outline, I run all the outline checks that I've just talked about. And if the outline has already passed all the checks, I jump straight in. So the first step in the high-level edit is verifying facts, fixing fallacies, and preempting all the objections that smart readers might have. Spotting inaccuracies, unsupported claims, wrong assumptions, faulty reasoning, poor arguments in our own work is super hard. That's where AI can help. It's pretty good at flushing out errors like that. To resonate with our audience, we need to speak at their level. So if we're writing for beginners, we shouldn't use specialist jargon because we will lose them. If we're writing for senior folks, we mustn't use simplistic terms or over-explain things because, again, we won't keep them on the page. Getting the balance is super hard. And AI can help, and I'll share the prompt in a moment, but ideally, we want our pieces, at least the first few that we write for the client, checked by an SME because they are the target audience and they know immediately if the article resonates or not, and they can tell us why or why not. Once the structure is solid, reasoning robust, stats straight, I move to line editing. This is where I remove the filler and tighten the copy. I start copy editing by removing unnecessary words like redundant adverbs or adjectives, tautologies, or verbose constructions. For example, anonymous is perfectly fine on its own. No need to precede it with completely. Gifts are always free, so you don't need to use the adjective before it. Reverse back. Can you reverse forward? None of these add any meaning. They actually dilute it, so I slash them. Step number 2 in the line editing process is all about removing weasel words. Weasel words like experts believe, significant improvement, business outcomes may sound impressive, but they are just filler that weakens your authority. And replacing them with specific data-backed details makes the piece more persuasive. For example, accuracy improved by 2.3% sounds more convincing than significant accuracy improvements. Next, I look for repetitions, both within a paragraph and across the article. I fix them by using synonyms or replacing the examples or by cutting, because repetition makes the draft feel lazy and, well, repetitive. Next, I make stop sentences of different lengths and structures to make the reading more engaging. If every sentence sounds the same, the text gets monotonous. It gets boring. Especially a string of long sentences can be quite tiring, put the reader to sleep, and they are difficult to digest. Short sentences aren't any better. They feel robotic, they feel disjointed, so variety is the key here. And I can't think of a better example to illustrate it than the classic quote by Gary Provost from his 1,000 Ways to Make Your Writing Better. There, I vary the sentence length and I create music. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a perfect illustration of why it's important to introduce variety in your sentence length and structure. Next step is replacing passive voice with active voice. Active voice is more concise and more engaging. It creates a more dynamic and authoritative tone. And that's what we want our writing to sound like. Passive voice, on the other hand, is less personal and sounds vague. And that's what we sometimes need. But only sometimes. Most of the time, we want to be clear and direct. Next, I look for cliches and replace them with fresher language. Phrases like, not all backlings are created equal, or a picture is worth 1,000 words. They may sound witty, but the odds are your readers have seen them before, like hundreds of times. This step ensures that the draft's tone of voice aligns with the audience's expectations and brand style. Different clients want different tones, be it professional, casual, authoritative. Some like rhetorical questions, others hate them. The same with bucket brigade. So when I start working with a new client, I create a style document based on the guidelines and samples of previously published content. I feed it all to ChatGPT and I ask it to create detailed tone and style instructions. Once I have the instructions, I export them into Markdown and upload as a project file. And when it's time to edit, I use the prompt I'll show you in a second to identify sentences that miss the mark. Finally, I check the draft against clients' past feedback, and this helps me avoid making the same mistakes. So even if I don't get it 100% right the first time, the future drafts require fewer edits. For every client that I work with, I have a Notion page where I record all the feedback. In the past, I used to check my drafts against it manually. Now I outsource it to AI. After each round, I export the file, upload it to ChatGPT, and ask it to analyze the feedback for patterns. Next, I export the feedback analysis results into Markdown and upload it as a project file. And then I use the prompt that I'm going to show you in a second to check every new draft before submission. At the final stage of the editing process, I switch from an editor to a proofreader, and I fix all the pesky typos and grammar mistakes that sneak in. I use Grammarly, and it catches most issues as I write, so there is very little to do at this stage. However, to be extra certain that my draft is flawless, I still run this prompt. So that's how I edit my articles, from high-level outline and first draft editing through line editing and proofreading. That's the process that helps me produce polished drafts that require minimal revisions and keep my editors happy. I hope you found it useful, and remember to check out my blog post where you can find all the prompts that I showed you. The link is below. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.